is she doing?
Cannoli. I summon her with 3 claps. Ooh!
Hi, I'm Carly.
And I'm Phillip.
And we're your golden teachers. The podcast dedicated to nurturing open minds and challenging assumptions.
Creating a safe space for all diverse viewpoints.
Okay, well, today's gonna be heavy, but also it's like my favorite topic because people don't talk about it enough. Episode 3, embracing grief, finding meaning, and healing in times of loss. So for those of you that don't really know Phillip and I's background, we both lost our parents.
Yay!
We both lost significant players in our lives. I not only have lost my parents, I've lost my grandparents. I don't speak to a lot of my family. Like, there's been a lot of loss. And then you have also experienced a lot of loss, and that's what we bonded on.
Yeah, literally the first day that we hung out, I walked into her living room and she's like, "Didn't your dad just die?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Are those all your parents?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was just like, "Welcome to the Dead Parents Club."
It's not a fun one, but it is a club.
It's a very morose club indeed.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I just wanted to shed light on grief and grieving. There's so many ways to grieve. Like, it's not always just when you lose someone. It's like when you lose a job, when you lose a friend, breaking up with like a romantic partner, losing a pet. Like, what is she doing?
Cannoli. I summon her with 3 claps. Ooh! Okay.
All right.
We're back with a different camera angle. I don't remember this 100%.
Our dog. There was no stopping her, but
No.
Phillip caught the lens.
I mean, it still landed. I cushioned it.
Good on you. I mean, hey.
My God, it's like all I have left.
Oh my God. So yeah, we're talking about grief today.
Yeah.
And I think we were just talking about
the last thing I had said was welcome to the Dead Parents Club.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That happened, and that's kind of how we bonded, but like really I think I just was really excited to see someone and like have someone around that like understood, because I feel like anyone you know that has like lost someone, especially a parent, you're just like, I know, and like there's like this mutual understanding. And so when you were like, I lost both, I was like, oh, you like really know, like
you're like, finally someone to talk to about it.
Like, yeah, because it's definitely not so common, and people get weird around talking about death, like or at least Americans, like our culture is not built for it. So
no.
It's
we tend to tuck it away.
Yeah, and it sucks because that's like not the reality of it.
No, not at all. Yeah.
Which segues me into the first topic. How does society's attitude towards grief affect like our processing and our experience in loss? I mean, I can start with one thing at least.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy to me that I remember I took like 1 week off from work when my mom died, and it was like 1 week, like, and I felt like kind of like people were like, okay, are you ready to get back at it? And it was like, no, like I am not ready to get back at it. It's been 1 week. Like I've barely gotten like paperwork set up for her.
Which is weird because I'm just like, what do y'all go through? Because I mean, people have experienced loss. Like, at least somebody's lost a grandparent. You know what I mean? And I'm like, in that, I'm like, don't you feel sad, or don't you feel like,
I don't know. I feel like what you just said, like Americans are taught to like tuck everything away. So why would this be any different? Right. Which is insane, because you can't just tuck grief away. Like, you have to feel it. Like, trust me when I say I have been running from my feelings for over a decade, my entire life. And like, it catches up. Right. So I think that's like the big thing. Like, or my favorite is when people will be like, don't worry, babe, like you'll get over it. And it's like, you don't get over it. Right. I don't.
It's like, oh, time heals all wounds.
No, it doesn't. It does not. Like, my favorite thing that people were saying, like, during COVID was, like, oh, welcome to my new normal. And, like, that is what grief is. Like, you don't ever get over it. You don't really move past it. You just, like, learn to live with this, like, new scenario of life without that person.
Right.
I could go on and on.
No, I know. I had a thought about it too, and it just left me a second ago. I know.
I know you could say some things.
Well, we were talking about you said something about the week.
Just like, yeah, I think in that I ended up quitting that job because I was like, I just can't come back.
Yeah.
I can't. I didn't have it in me at that time.
Well, it kind of blows my mind how people are unable to really empathize when people are suffering through loss and really try and like put you or, oh, no. Okay. Yeah. Well, they don't really empathize. And then it's almost like they just kind of expect you to just pick up and move on. And then just kind of like, oh, that was something that happened. And you move through it and it's okay. I think the thing that I experienced grief-wise was from, again, we come from very different backgrounds and perspectives. And so, like, I remember when my mom had passed and I was very much, like, involved in, like, the church bubble, you know, church culture. And I remember the sweetest moment happened where I was, like, sitting with, like, two of my older friends. And it was, like, three of us guys just, like, sitting in a row. Mm-hmm. And they were kind of shielding me from people that were just, like, everybody wanted to come to me and they wanted to talk to me. And they were just kind of like, oh, you know, they're buffering the conversation so I didn't have to talk to anybody. I loved it. It was the best until one of the pastors was like, come up on stage and we're all going to like lay hands on you and pray and all talk together. And that was like the hardest thing for me because I had so many people all focusing on me at once. And I think
that happened to me because I was in church when my mom passed away and like, no, I know. I mean, churches just lack boundaries. Like, that's what sucks about it.
Yeah, the last thing I wanted to do was be seen by people. I wanted to be around people.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to be the focus of being around people. And so that was, oh my God, such a nightmare.
It's like things that you just like don't think about when someone loses someone. Like, it really like knocks your entire world down. Like, time slows down.
Right.
And so, like, you have a hard time, like, thinking or caring about anything because you're like, oh, my God, we're immortal. Like, or sorry. No,
we're mortal.
We are mortal.
Yeah.
And, like, all these realizations, especially if it's your first time going through it.
Right.
And so you're just like, what is life? What is life? So, honestly, my favorite thing was when my friends showed up with food.
Oh, that's a good one.
Like, what were things that... what was it? The question was, how can you support someone when they may not know what they need or like how to say what they need?
Sorry, I just knocked my bottle.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And so I was just thinking about how like the friends that showed up with food, like, oh my God, when Roxy gave me tacos, I was like, a love language because I wasn't eating.
I had a friend, he showed up with Pringles and gummy bears.
Oh no.
And which my dog ate. Berkeley ate the whole thing. I had to take her to the vet. It was a whole thing.
Comfort food, I guess.
Well, no, but it was one of those things where he was like, I don't know what to bring you, bro. So here you go. And I mean,
at least he showed up.
No, it meant a lot. It was great. It was awesome.
You know what else it was? When the people called me, didn't text me. They called to be like, hey, how are you? Like, I'll never forget it. I
had some friends spend the night with me.
Oh, that was nice.
Yeah, well, because I was in Texas when that had happened, and I was having insomnia.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, like I couldn't sleep, and I was in this house that was like, it had me and my mother in it, and now it was like completely empty. And so a couple of my closest friends were just like, oh, we're just going to stay the night with you, like the next 2 nights, and make sure that you like get some sleep.
Yeah.
And my God, I knocked out. Like I fell right asleep because I felt like there was like presence. You know what I mean?
Can you describe a moment in your journey of grief where you found unexpected solace or clarity?
Solace or clarity? I mean, yes, if you let me extend the period of grieving from 10, 11 years ago to now.
Yeah, of course, it's still grieving.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, like, what does that mean?
What do you mean?
Like, expand?
No, well, I'm just saying because it's like if it was within like the first however many months or whatever, I was just a hot mess.
No.
Yeah. It was like a bomb had gone off by my head, and I just couldn't, you know.
I mean, honestly, there were so many moments of clarity, but one of them was just like when you have someone either like sick or just like really going through a rough time. For me, it was just like it had gone on for so long that it was like I just need an answer.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to pass away, that's terrible, but I either need it to happen or not. And so then when it did, it was just like, I don't know if that's clarity, but
I was gonna say that's not where I was thinking.
Well, I
what
guess
that
in
meant.
my head there's more to the story, and I'm like, do I want to share this? But it's like I'll put it out there just in case I do want to share it. But basically, for me, it was like I like needed. Oh, you know what it was? Years later, after I realized how toxic my relationship was with, I mean, both my parents, but really with my mom, it was like I needed her to pass in order for me to deal with my shit. Like deal with like that relationship and what that was and understand how toxic it really, really was.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's almost like you needed her to get out of the way so you could focus on what the true problem was. Or it's not that you needed her to get out of the way. You just needed that role to stop.
Yeah, because I wouldn't have ever.
Yeah.
I would have never cut her off.
Yeah.
So once she passed away, I was like, whoa, that was so bad for me. Like the constant just, I was just put in a mother role so often. Like I was the one taking care of our family so often that like when she did pass away, it was like the first time that I was like, oh God, why was I put in that? Like that was terrible.
Huh.
I don't know.
Again, no, because I'm thinking about like immediately the moment after my mom died, or it wasn't even. I had the same moment where I was like kind of walking around my living room, and at the time because I was like super Christian, I was like praying and I was doing the whole thing, and then at one moment, like it was like, oh, she could actually die. And then there was like a weird piece that I had where I was just like, I just wanted her to be done.
Yeah, so she could be in peace.
Yeah, and at that moment, I kind of weirdly made peace that it was going to happen. But, you know, I also still fought it tooth and nail to the very end. I think, though, it's actually interesting because, like, for about 2 or 3 months afterwards, I was, like, completely fine, I think.
It's called shock and denial.
Yeah, no, I was. But it's just funny because I was just like, I was at the funeral and people were like, wow, I'm going to go tell our other relatives that Philip's just handling it so well. And I was just like, yeah, why am I handling it so well?
You're not.
Yeah, no. And inside I was just like silently cracking. Like when you hear like in a movie, the ship, like, you know, like a boat is just like giving away to the water.
Yeah. No, literally, like that's another thing. I feel like people don't realize that there are stages of grief, and not only do you go through them like over a long period of time, you like go through them every single day, like over and over and over, and it's always different.
Right.
And like some days you're just like, I feel okay, and then there's other days where you're like, why does my body just want to cry? And like and like it's just nuts. I mean, even going back to like the shock and denial, like the fact that I literally taught yoga the day after I found out both of them passed away.
Yeah.
I taught class the next day for my dad, and then I also taught class the next day after my mom. And I remember my teacher was like, or my boss, she was like, what are you doing here? And I was like, it's fine, I can do it.
Yeah, you're like, I live in LA, I need to pay rent.
I need to pay rent. And she was like, please go home. And I was like, no. But I had like, I was just
you needed something to do.
I needed,
yeah. And I feel like sometimes, I thought I was going to burp. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I feel like there's a certain level of like healthy distraction that you can have. Like there's a certain level of like, I need to keep moving and keep doing. But then I think the real strength in it is allowing yourself to stop and ponder and sit in it.
Yeah. But I feel like, I don't know. It was good that I waited at least a month. Like, yeah. I think like after like a month or so, that's when I like locked myself in my room and I like postmated everything, and I only left when I had to like work. No, it was honestly nuts. And then I watched The Office, and it's like the only thing that got me through that point of time.
That was me and Game Grumps. I've told you this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's these two Let's Players, and literally because I wasn't so close to my friends and family, I would just put it on in the background, and it just felt like I had people home because they were just two guys yelling at each other playing video games. Yeah. And so it actually helped me feel like it was okay with laying there and being there, because it felt like I still had people around.
Yeah, maybe that's why I did the same. I also played a lot of video games.
Heck yeah. Let's go Spyro.
I did.
Yeah. Oh, you know what we didn't finish talking about?
What?
The social things, because you were talking about.
Oh yeah.
We got derailed from that.
Sorry.
But no, it's fine. All I wanted to say in that topic is literally just the fact that, like, God, American society does not know how to handle growing older and passing away.
Oh my God, growing older and like just all of it. Or like, why are we so obsessed with being young? Like, we're going to die. Like, we're going to unalive.
I remember.
Like,
very trendy of you. I remember telling somebody the other day, they were in my chat, and they were like, "Oh, I'm just entering my like early 20." They were like turning 22 or something, and they were like, "You know, do you have any advice?" Being someone who's in their 30s, and I was like, "Yeah, you got to remember, there's much more life after 30." But for some reason,
funny
what?
You're saying that.
Why?
Because you constantly are like, my life is over.
Okay, well, that goes my story and my ability to stand in that.
So some guy asked you what, like, any advice for a 20-year-old?
Oh, yeah. No, my advice in that was just to realize that life, like, don't just accept that you have your 20s to do things. Like, your 30s are there, your 40s are there, your 50s are there, and according to some people, the 60s, 70s, and possibly 80s are there.
You're funny, because I'm the total opposite. I'd be like, YOLO, your life is short, take every like opportunity you can if it's like a fun one, because you never know when you're gonna actually die. Like, it could be tomorrow.
Well, my whole thing is I just want people to understand, because what happened is, like, I hit 30, and then I just thought I was like aged out of society, and so like as you get older, like, you kind of matter less. But that's,
I mean, that was
that's
only with TV. Now that there's social media, we matter.
But what I'm trying to say is back to the original point of like the society and how society handles it is overwhelmingly so. We kind of communicate to people that after 30-ish, you start losing your, value to society, and you get older and you fade away. Yeah. But I think, I mean, that's like you were just saying a minute ago. I feel like there's, people of all ages learning to communicate and take power back, and learning to like hold value and hold their own value. I think the worst place that I saw it was people talking on LinkedIn, where they were just like, you need to be hiring younger, more up and coming people and forget about the people in their 50s.
In the business like that, it's, I mean, even my dad, like, that happened to him. That's why it sucked that he got laid off at like over 50, because most people were like, well, I'm just going to go hire like a 20-something-year-old and pay them half the price that you are.
Right. The point the person was making is like, you're missing out on a lot of value that these people that have all this experience. Yeah. And so I think what's starting to happen now, hopefully, is that we're seeing that, people are more willing to look at every stage of life and see that you don't lose your value after a certain age. You just embrace the stage that you're at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what else really sucks? With like, I don't know if it's a misconception, but like when you tell people that, oh yeah, like I lost my mom at like whatever. People get so weird because they don't know how to respond. Like they're like, oh no, like they feel like you're like immediately your feelings are hurt or something. And I'm like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like I deal with it every day.
Oh yeah.
And
well, it's like I recently posted something on TikTok where because somebody asked me, they're like, what got you into live streaming? And so I said that story that I said about the Game Grumps. Yeah. And I was like, all I want to be able to do is to be that for somebody else. And everyone hit me, and I had communicated, it was like 11 or 12 years ago that it happened. And they're like, I'm so sorry for your loss. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I'm like, I don't need you to like give me the
it's
I'm
nice.
so sorry. Yeah, it's sweet of them.
It's really nice, but
we don't need to go there. I'm just.
Or I just feel like people feel bad for me. And like, I don't want people to feel bad for me. No. I really just want to be able to like stand in my truth and express it without making people feel uncomfortable. But like, it's just, I've had to like accept that people just aren't comfortable when it comes to talking about death or unalive. We're going to use this on TikTok. And
it is funny to me though, when people tell me that they've lost somebody and I don't communicate that, because they're
communicate
like tell me, just be like, oh, my mom
passed away.
Oh, wow.
I know. I don't even know. What do I say?
Because it like
I'm probably just like, welcome to the Dead Parents Club.
Yeah, but it's just like because I don't want to hit people with just like, hey, I'm so sorry. Like you must be, you know what I mean? Like I'm just like, wow. And because I feel like when people hit me with like, oh, I'm so sorry, it ruins it doesn't ruin, but it gets in my flow.
Yeah, it ruins the vibe.
And so I'm just like, okay, well, I was talking about this thing, but now I'm trying to deal with the fact that you're trying to be empathetic with me, which I love, and you're very kind and you're very understanding, but now I forgot what I'm talking about. So
like when it's in passing, I'm like da-da-da-da-da, and then my mom passed away, and they're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, okay, it's nice of you, but like you don't have to, it's fine.
But then boom, conversation derailed. I know. And then that's why like they'll look at me and they're like, yeah, because when my mom died, blah, 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 and I'm like, oh wow. I'm just like I'm leaving them space to keep saying what they're saying.
Oh yeah. Because in those scenarios, I definitely don't say anything.
No, I mean, if somebody were to come up to me like, my mom just died, then I'd be like, yeah, I'm so sorry. That is. Yeah. But if they're explaining something to me and they're like, well, back when my mom died, I'm not going to be like, whoa. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I just don't ever want people to feel bad for me. It's like, this is the reality of it, and I've had to deal with it for so long, and like, yes, it's been 8 and 10 years for my parents, but like it feels like yesterday. And so I don't know, like part of my healing process is speaking it. Yeah, like the fact that I can even bring it up and not be super sad when I do bring it up is like the growth.
Well, and I think that also like goes into, it's just funny how, so the whole like, oh, I'm so sorry, like that is, I feel like, part of people's awkward nature of not understanding that it's a part of life and that you can just bring it up. Yes. And so when, like I said, when I'm just like, oh, it's I feel like so many other cultures have embraced the idea of like, people pass, people move on. It's just, this happens to you, this happens to me, this happens to them.
Yeah, and we all have it in common.
Yeah, and so here it's such a bombastic thing still. Yeah. That it's just like the minute somebody hears it, it's weird. So it's just like somebody such as yourself who will openly talk about it. It's honestly uncomfortable for other people because they would rather just like
ignore the fact that they're gonna die one day.
Probably. Who,
we're so
me?
We're like, oh my God.
I think, how long do you think it's been that every generation's been like, no, but they're going to find the thing my generation. They're going to find the fountain of youth during my time.
Oh, God. I don't want the fountain of youth.
No, just let me die. I've already lived 30-something years, and it's the housing market's rough.
I've lived 9 lives. I'm tired.
Yeah.
But anyway, we won't go down that road.
Yeah.
I know, I'm waiting for mix-up.
I was like, speaking of 9 lives, the cat's not here.
I mean, a positive for me, when my dad passed away, I did yoga twice a day. Oh. Yeah, I did it morning and evening.
Hot yoga? Mm-hmm. You're a beast.
I just needed to move and not think about it for a while.
Yeah.
And then I also like needed to be around people, but like that was the perfect space for me because it was like I could be around people, but like no
that's
no
smart.
one knew.
Yeah.
So I could just live in my head.
I journaled a shit ton. I mostly lived on my paper, which was cool because it was like always there, but then it was also it was like a double-edged sword because on one hand I was flushing out my feelings and emotions, but then also on the other hand they didn't really have anywhere to go from there.
Oh, sad.
Yeah.
You should have hit me up. I was writing songs in my closet.
I was too scared to talk to you.
That's also what I did. I like wrote songs.
Yeah. I did too, actually. I wrote a bunch of guitar riffs.
Because it's like that thing that when Chelsea Mina brought it up, I was like, where it's like sometimes like there are just emotions and like circumstances that you just can't make sense of, but like somehow when I write music, that's like how I make sense of it.
Yeah.
I mean, coping. Oh yeah, there's good and bad.
I was just like smoking, and I was like, I didn't smoke.
I didn't smoke.
I barely drank.
I partied.
I wish I partied.
After my dad passed away, I went ham.
Yeah.
I was a mess.
Yeah.
Like a hot mess.
You know what I did? I ate a lot. I truly do eat my feelings.
I did not eat at all.
Yeah.
I look back and I was so skinny because I would forget. We should have just hung out, really.
Oh no, that would have been great.
I would have written your journal entries and you could have made me eat.
I mean, honestly, I would go work out a ton. But even that became unhealthy for me because I was like, I would just live there. You know what I mean?
No, I know. And like, that's the thing. It's like, you are still doing something good for your body, but if you're like still unhealthily, like addicted to it and not like dealing with your shit.
Right.
It's like,
no, I was compensating. I was just trying to shut out the noise, honestly. And
yeah, which I think is okay for a while.
Yeah. For a brief minute, but then it wasn't until I started seeing, shout out every episode to my therapist, but it was like,
therapy is sexy.
Therapy is sexy.
Run, don't walk, go get it.
But no, it wasn't until I started seeing a therapist that I realized that it's like, you just don't want to like stew in things. You want it to be able to flow into an actual outlet, and so you have a healthy body of water. Because then when I was just like sitting in my thoughts all the time.
Yeah.
And then I would like sit in my thoughts, and then I would go repress them, and then sit in them, and then repress them. I wasn't truly allowing myself to feel something because I was just trying to put it somewhere. As opposed to like actually learning how to express it.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is why I had one day where I laid on the floor and cried for a very long time. And I didn't know I needed it. But I did.
Man, I still cry all the time. I mean,
Yeah. It's great. She was crying just like 10 minutes before we started.
No.
Yeah.
I think what my big one is, though, which I will stand by it, is like your body remembers trauma. So like every year around the day my dad passed away and my mom, or like their birthdays, like I get this like, and then it like comes out and I'm like, why am I crying? And then I'm like, oh yeah, it's the 23rd.
Right.
Yeah.
That doesn't really happen to me.
You never cry about it. I'm always crying.
Yeah, but I mean, you remember the park. I cried about it.
I mean, we should just talk about it.
Okay.
Because honestly, it was like I really enjoyed watching it. Not in the back. Okay, let's just start from the beginning.
Well, you were standing over me, pointing and laughing, being like, ha ha ha.
No. I remember sitting there being like, oh my God, he needs this. And men don't ever get the chance to bawl like a baby like this. So like, and I don't mean in a bad way.
No.
You were like it would not stop.
Yeah, it was an ocean of pain that I was wading in.
Basically, we took some mushrooms and he got hit with his grief, like a ton of bricks, like his 8 years of grieving that may or may not have happened, I guess. It sounds like they didn't happen as much as it should have. just got like nailed with it.
I thought, like, imagine a dam, right? Like a big dam.
Yeah.
And like over the time of my grief being experienced and stepping further away from my mother's passing, like, you know, there's like they would open a gate and some water would spill out. And you're like, oh, okay. And that would drop the level, but there was still a body of water behind the dam.
Yeah.
So then when we did that, it's almost like the mushrooms took a hammer and just slammed into the middle of the dam and shattered the whole thing. So it was
he
just
like literally was just crying.
Yeah.
But like I watched it and I let it happen because I was like, oh, he needs this. Like men don't ever get the space or like are allowed in, I feel like, our society to really open up and cry like that. They always have to like put on their bootstraps and like provide and, you know, but like it was just so nice to see it because I was like, oh, men really need this. Like they should do this more often. You know?
I don't cry. Tears run down my face.
That's me.
I'm
a man?
Sorry. I couldn't believe that take.
Oh no.
But no, it's interesting because it's like I do think there's such a thick line that's being drawn more and more. Where like I feel like there are a lot of men that complain about.
We're not generalizing. This is just some experience.
Oh, I'm generalizing. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. But no, it's. I feel like societally, there are a lot of men that are saying that they don't have the room and space to be able to cry and feel emotions, but then I also feel like they also don't allow themselves or other men to feel strong and crying and feeling emotions.
Also, women might not be giving them the space for that.
It's valid.
You know?
I've been in relationships like that where it's just like, I've always been very emotional and very sensitive, but I realized that became my strength because I was always able to stand in the gap with other people who didn't know they were feeling things. And so like I would be around like, say, you know, another guy friend of mine and he'd be like pissed. And then I could be like, well, let's talk through what you're going through.
Being pissed is really just being sad.
Yeah. Well, and it's just like, it turns out he was really upset about something that had happened and it was a lot of grief that he had to go through. But I feel like it takes, you know, sometimes people that feel a little bit more to be able to help others unlock that stuff. And so
such as art.
But it's like, yeah, society wise, I definitely do think that there is a movement and a push to allow men in particular to have space to feel those things. But then there's also a lot of other people that are shouting, saying that, you know, men should just suck it up and do it. So it's like,
no, they all just need to do mushrooms.
Yeah, pretty
cry
much.
A little bit.
Hold each other.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah. And listen to EDM. Listen to house, hold each other. And then have a great slice of watermelon while you're tripping.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just thinking about day trip.
What are you talking about? But, I mean, it was just nice to see you, like, really grieve it out.
I needed it.
I mean, I know I needed it. God, I mean, it comes in waves, but just when you think you are like, okay, I'm in, like, a good point of my grieving journey, like it just hits you in a different way and you're like
or it'll be a thing that reminds you about it that all of a sudden you're just like
the worst
and then all of a sudden you're sucked right back to that moment.
Well, even like, okay, so we're planning our wedding and so the reason why I decided to be like, let's just do it overseas. Like, let's do it really small and do it overseas and just like completely unconventional because I have been to weddings. They are sad for me. Like, it's not fun. Like, all the traditions are really centered around the parents. So, like, I don't even know the point I was making, but
you were talking about how, let's see, we're doing our wedding overseas because it's all around the parents.
I mean, I really was just saying how, we were just talking about how, like, just when you think you have, like, reached a certain point or, like, you're really, like, good in your healing journey, there's, like, there comes a time where you're like, oh, actually, never mind. And what I was saying was, like, us planning our wedding, like, to know
that's what we
I'm not going to have a dad to walk me down the aisle. Like, as much as I love my brother, it's like, I want my dad there. And like, you don't have your mom there. And like, I don't have my mom to like sit in the back and get ready with me. Like, I won't have my sister. Like, it sucks. Like, all the things, all like the family, like I'm getting teary eyed just thinking about it. Like, that sucks.
Yeah. I'm your family now.
I can't. Oh my God, that's oh my God, that's what we should talk about now. Okay, hang on. Remove any suggestion that I was crying. Oh my God. Oh my God, you know, yeah, we should totally talk about I know people will probably think it's crazy, but when you have someone that passed away, you know there are signs that are left. Like, you just know.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of my signs was this fucking song.
What is it called again?
It is called "Steppin' Out" by Joe Jackson.
Wow, that is the fastest I've heard you remember that.
Let's
don't play it though, because
it's just such a random song.
But if we're gonna post this, you don't want to get license stricken. Is that the top of the song? That's about as much as we can play before getting the video removed from YouTube.
That's honestly all I wanted to say. That song, okay, I remember it's like the most random song. It is such a random song. And honestly, he listened to that album all the time.
It's so 90s of him.
So random. And I would just start hearing it. And it was like I had never heard it ever. Because I was like, who the fuck would put this song on? And I remember I heard it more and more. And then I remember one time when we like first started dating.
It was the escalator.
We were on the escalator. And I remember I was going back and forth on like, do I want to keep dating this guy?
Thank you. I was pretty much all in, but that's great. That's
well, because I just was like, I really like him. But I also was like going back and forth between I really need to be myself.
Yeah.
And so when that came on and I was on the escalator with you, I was like, he's giving the blessing. I already know. And so I was like, all right, I'll keep dating him.
I always tell, my mom used to drive a red Mustang way back when, and we would always make the joke because it was like, it wound up being a valuable year for the Mustang or whatever.
Yeah.
And she sold it. And that was like one of her biggest regrets, is that she sold this red Mustang. So whenever I feel like something good is happening or something that I'm leaning in a certain direction and I should do it, I just always randomly, there goes a red Mustang, and I'm just like, what the crap? So I remember one time there was like, I was leaving your place, and I think we just had an argument or something. I don't remember. We had a disagreement about something, and then I saw a red Mustang parked like right behind my car, and then I was just like, oh, I should apologize.
Your mom's like,
exactly. My mom was just like,
go back up in there.
You found a good one. God damn it, get back in there.
Amazing.
So, you know, but yours is more fun.
No, yours is really fun.
No, because we go into Italy now, and it's.
Oh my God, it did do that. I forgot about that.
Oh no, I'm keeping track of every time it happens.
I think that's what I wanted for my next tattoo. I told you, right? I want this man, the piano man.
Yeah. It's weird that you want to get it all over your whole back, though. Like
I didn't say that. I think I just want to like. I think before I get like
1, 2, 3, 4
photos for our wedding, I just want them like, I want those like really delicate, nice, cute tattoos.
Yeah. I want to be cheesy. I want to get our vows tattooed like the WAV file.
Oh yeah, I always wanted that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I wanted to get it tattooed, but we can do it.
But I was gonna do it on my face. And then my nose would be the play marker. Like if you
No.
Only audio people will get that joke.
But yeah, I was just saying with the wedding thing, like that was a moment where I was like, oh shit, here we go again. Because I was just like, it is definitely depressing in some ways, and like What? It is. Like thinking about like we're not going to have a father-daughter dance. There's definitely not like a mother. I don't know if there is a mother-son. No one is going to make speeches. Who's going to do
mother-son dance?
Well, okay. And it's like, who's going to talk? Like, I guess my brother or like.
Oh, he'll be more than happy to talk.
My bridesmaids or something. But like, it's just like, yeah, we don't have really anyone. So.
But it's great in my position because it's like.
What do you mean?
I just think about it, and it's my mom just didn't want to do things. Like she didn't like being featured in anything. She just wanted to be out of the way. So there was a time when we were looking for a friend of mine and I were looking for my mom's tombstone because I wanted to like pay respects in the graveyard and just like
you told me that.
Yeah, and so there was no headstone because we the person that I thought that was going to put one down actually never did it. So I was like calling my mom's friend and I was trying to be like, I don't know where it is. And I was freaking out because I was like, I can't find where my mom's body is. I eventually found it, but then she was like, isn't it funny? Because your mom just never wanted anybody to find her ever. Mm-hmm. And so now she's like tucked away forever. But now when I think about like getting married, you know, I almost feel like my mom has a sense of relief that she's like, oh, thank God, I don't have to do this dumb dance. And I'm like,
I mean, I don't even want to do a dance, like a first dance.
Oh, no, I'm going to do a dance with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Oh, I was going to just play like I love rock and roll. And I was just going to give you a lap dance. You were going to sit there and I was going to do it. And you're going to have to sit through every moment of it.
You're going to give me a lap dance while everyone is there?
Yeah.
No, yeah. I will kill you.
We're going to be like, it's hit that adult hour. Kids go to bed. I love rock and roll. And,
is that what we're going to do the garter with?
Oh my God, I don't understand that tradition.
I don't get it.
I don't. It's
do
just
we
like,
have to do it?
I remember. No, I don't think so. I just remember being a kid going to family weddings, and then I'm like, oh, there's my aunt. Why am I seeing her leg? Like, and so she'd be rolling up her thing, and I'm just like traumatized and.
I just don't. It's like, okay, we've had sex. Like, we had sex probably the night before. It's not.
Are you gonna throw the bouquet?
Yeah, I'll throw the bouquet.
Oh, okay.
Bouquet, whatever.
I'll
throw that.
We have such a small wedding party. I feel like Maria's just gonna be the most athletic one to catch it.
Well, I think I'll just throw it to everyone. Also, I think most of our. Oh no, I guess no one's married, but a lot of people are.
Do you want to just spend the rest of the time talking about Italian food that we miss?
that should be its own episode.
At the end, we just have like a ukulele playing, and then we're just like, now for 5 minutes of bliss in Italy. I'm like,
Aperol spritzes, like a real Aperol spritz, a limoncello spritz.
I still can't get fully behind limoncello. It feels like I'm drinking cough syrup.
Any kind of pasta.
Any kind?
Any.
There's no pasta that you'd say no to?
Not in Italy.
What if they were like Dino Nugget pastas? Like if they were like cut out like...
They would not do that in Italy because those aren't even allowed. Try again.
Just once in Italy, I just want to break the spaghetti in half and see what they do.
No.
If it's straight to jail.
I will kill you. That's why you need a big pot. You need a pot.
Yeah.
Like big enough for the spaghetti to... Why would you ever?
Crack the spaghetti in half?
Why?
Because it makes it easier to chew later.
No.
America.
Use a spoon. Learn proper etiquette. Although they didn't give me a spoon in Italy, and I was like, give me one.
Yeah.
Well, you just have to go like that.
Do it again.
No.
I like that sound.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
What advice would you give to someone who's struggling to find meaning or hope in the midst of loss? I mean,
that's so big.
And it doesn't even have to be like, again, it could be like loss of like dating someone. I don't know. I just feel like you have to like really have to take the initiative to like take care of yourself. Like get up, take a walk. Like it's like simple things. Like make sure you're eating, make sure you're drinking water.
I would just say find a reason to make it to tomorrow. Like that's honestly it.
Which for me for a long time was like writing that EP, Good Morning.
Oh, where is that available?
On all streaming platforms.
Wow, that's amazing. It's like right there. It's also like you're wearing your merch too.
But yeah, I mean that was it for me. I don't know about you. Or even like me going and having that like I want to be a singer, I want to be a dancer. Like those were things that like really got me out of bed.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, to me, it was just like, just trying to make it to the next day. And honestly, like, I didn't have any meaning, and so I think what kept me going was trying to find meaning, was trying to find purpose, because I was such a blank slate that I didn't know what to do, so I decided to just do and keep doing. And so I think in that, you're just kind of embracing the journey of life, which I think is perfectly healthy and perfectly fine, because plenty of people have written books on how to, get through grief and how to do it. But then at the same time, I feel like we're all trying to figure it out and we're all trying to find a way. And it's just like, you just need to allow yourself to have a night of sleep. And like you said, eat some food and like get some rest. And then you'll figure it out tomorrow. And if you don't, then maybe the day after.
I think that's why I like traveling when I was grieving too, though. Because like when I traveled, it allowed me to really be like, I don't know, like experience life in a different perspective in a different part of the world. And
right.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's part of the reason I was fortunate enough to start touring a couple of years after losing my mom. And so because of that, I got to have fun sampling different cultures. Mm-hmm. And also that also helped me like realize that people talk so openly, like, oh yeah, I lost my brother, he was such an asshole, and blah, blah, blah. They're like just talking about it like it's nothing. And and then you try to say, I'm so sorry, and they're like, you're interrupting my conversation. So totally. That's where I learned how to not do that so quickly.
Well, I think that's it for now.
Oh, look at the music.
But I could go on and on about.
I know this could easily be a 3-hour long episode.
We could do an episode 4 on
it. We could actually make that the music.